Right. So, good afternoon to ladies and gentlemen, and it's a great pleasure to be here and to be running this webinar, which is really global. So we are talking about the global South, but I'm glad to see that we have people from everywhere around the world. So that's really great. And so our partners for this afternoon, as you can see here, are SunBio, ICGEB, Department of Science and Innovation, and I'm David Katere. I'm with Swane University of Technology, and so PharmaConnect is happy to facilitate these discussions as always. And this afternoon, we really want to talk about this vaccine issue. It's been kind of a vaccine month everywhere around the world. But then we probably need something like 12 billion units of this vaccine. And so every country in the world that's able to manufacture good quality vaccine should really enter into this value chain, because there just isn't one country that can do it, or one company. So that's what we want to talk about. We have these quite regularly. Last week, some of you might have been with us. We were talking again about regional approach to COVID and to pandemics now and in the future. We have these at least twice a month. So we've been running these since May last year when the lockdown happened. And we have a YouTube channel, so you can follow us there, and we will record all this and curate it onto the YouTube channel. So the business of the day this afternoon, I have my colleague, Dr. Ms Zabini, who's at ICGEB in Cape Town, and he's going to co-moderate this session with me. Would like to thank Ms Glaudina Loots for taking time off a busy schedule to come and make opening remarks. And at the end, Dr. Palesa Sekejana, who was here last week, will try to wrap everything up. But in between, it's like a sandwich, isn't it? In between is all the soft and nice bits. And so we have speakers from all around the world, really, sharing their experiences and hopefully encouraging us that this can be done. It's got pitfalls, it's challenging, but it can be done, and we should surely do it. So I will now hand over to my colleague, Dr. Zabini, to introduce Claudina Loots, who will then do the opening remarks. So, Louise, over to you.
Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms Glaudina Loots from the Department of Science Innovation. She's the Director of the Health Innovation. And Glaudina, the floor is yours for your opening remarks. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Luis, and thank you, David. It was good to see you again. And thank you for all your efforts also on keeping the science going. Yes, today is actually a very interesting day again. It's the second batch of vaccines that landed in South Africa last night, and this time it actually is rolled out on the same day. But to me, the interesting thing is what have we learned from this whole thing? And to me, this African science has actually to come out as a strong winner within this whole endeavor where we are, and to what extent we can actually rely on our own knowledge and our own infrastructure that's been put together. And this is actually very important of when we start looking then at vaccine development. Well, the moment that the AU is looking at a number of activities, but the main thing is, do we have the expertise? Do we have the willingness beyond just the political willingness, but the willingness for tech transfer and to see what we can be doing in Africa. So the main players is on the moment South Africa, Senegal, Tunisia, Ethiopia, and Egypt in this field who's got some kind of expertise. But Egypt and Senegal got the longest expertise in the actual manufacturing of the drug-like substance or the active pharmaceutical ingredient for vaccines as such. So the rest of them is more looking into the full finishing or formulating full finishing components. But what COVID has taught us, if we do not create our own abilities to actually make the active components of vaccines, we will still be standing in a queue. And this is where we need to look at which are the best technologies to pursue, which technologies will give us the fastest turnaround, and to what extent we can actually leapfrog on some of the technologies. For example, the mRNA vaccines, that's the Pfizer, Moderna vaccines, but there's also other companies that is looking into that, because that's a technology that you then can utilize for other vaccines, but you can also utilize that for a number of the cancer drugs and so antibodies that needs to be developed. So we need to look at what will give us the best results and what will take the fastest also then to put together. But we need to be realistic. In order to put a facility together, you need a minimum of 10 billion US dollars in order to put a facility together that will make an impact. And once you've got that facility, while you put the facility together, you have to make sure that you've got the necessary bioengineers, chemical engineers, and in place and trained up in the processes that is needed to actually manufacture vaccines. So to me, the main thing is, yes, we've shown that we have the science abilities. Some countries across Africa has developed vaccines or is still busy developing vaccines, but we can't show that we do have that expertise as well. But how do we then take it beyond the universities to actually the implementation side, where we actually put the manufacturing facilities across Africa? So the African Vaccine Manufacturers Initiative, AVMI, is also a very important driving force for the actual manufacturing of vaccines. But one of the main problems with vaccine manufacturing across Africa is actually the uptake. And the uptake is being dictated to a large extent across Africa by your Gavis and now, for example, by CEPI. And this is the whole thing, because there's such a large component being dependent on donor funding for the buying of the vaccines. We sit with a position where individual countries can actually not determine where they will buy the vaccines from. They are to a large extent dependent on organizations such as UNICEF and Gavi. So we need to, in the discussions, we actually need to bring them in. And so fine, we've now learned, you've seen what happened in COVID. So how do we go beyond it and actually strengthen the abilities across Africa as such? So from my side is, yes, we can do it, but let's be realistic on what are the elements that we actually need to put together in order to be able to do it. Thank you, Louis.
Thank you very much, Glaudina, for your opening remarks and nice words. In fact, just to compliment Glaudina, I just got a picture in my WhatsApp with the President Cyril Ramaphosa receiving the dose of the vaccine. It means officially it started here in South Africa. David, do you have any other comments, or should I move on with the program?
Thank you very much, Glaudina. I think we can then move on and you can introduce our speakers.